Oh. A business needs to guarantee that users of the AWS Management Console adhere to password complexity guidelines. How can a business customize the difficulty of its passwords? So using IAM user policy, using AWS organization service control policies, using account password policies, security hub management insight. So we are selecting one. Mm. Nora says B. More answers, guys. Um, Nee says C. Kofiotri says C. I think. Exam time, there's no I think. Vida says A. Uh, Derek says B. Okay, so there are diverse. So let me do this before we just go ahead to the answers. Now, the question says the business needs to guarantee that the users of the AWS Management Console or users that are accessing services through the Management Console adhere to password complexity guidelines. So with password complexity guidelines, you are only looking at password policies, right? You're looking at password policies. There is nothing like user policy. What you have is service control policies where you set certain policies for certain users or for certain user groups. All right. And then the security hub management insight. Honestly, I've not seen anything of that sort before. But as far as insights are concerned, it's just like you getting to know your hub managed insight. So you are getting to know some of the security practices or security best practices as far as the AWS security is concerned. All right. So the account password policy stands out for me for this question. So I will agree with Ni and Kofi Oche. Right, so that's the correct answer. So which AWS service will determine if a security group has granted unlimited access to a resource? Okay, so I see two A's. Nora says A. Hey, nipa miɛnsa pɛ. Okay, so let's continue. So I'm seeing AAAAAS. So that's trusted advisor, right? And that is also correct. Which features are available to users while using AWS KMS? Which features are available to users while using AWS KMS? So create and manage AWS access keys for AWS account root user. Create and manage AWS access keys for an account IAM user. Create and manage keys for encryption and decryption of data. Create and manage keys for multi-factor authentication. So which of them? Okay, so I see a lot of C's. All right. So that is also correct. So KMS is mainly for encryption and then decryption. On Amazon EC2 instances, a business has installed various relational databases. Each month, the database software manufacturer publishes new security updates for databases that must be deployed. Which method is the most effective for applying security patches? So A says connects to each database instance on a monthly basis and download and apply the necessary security patches from the vendor. Enable automatic patching for the instances using Amazon RDS console. C, in AWS configure a rule for the instances and the required patch level. D, use systems manager to automate database patching according to a schedule. So for this, you need to have like knowledge of the right services. So I feel like it's between C and D, right? But you actually need to know the best use cases for both. All right, so let the answers come. Well, that's what I feel like it's between C and D. But then, if you think otherwise, you can still bring your answer. Okay, so I see D. All right, Ni. Okay, Ni. So maybe D. So choose. You are choosing D, right? The Prince says B. Okay, Jace also says B. All right, let's see where the correct. Let's see the correct answer. I will explain, but I feel it's between AWS config and then systems manager. But then config is mostly for auditing configuration changes, right? Auditing and then assessing configuration changes. So D will make the difference for me. Systems manager for me for enabling automatic patching for instances using RDS. The RDS console itself, there is nothing like RDS console. RDS is a managed database service. So for patching, you don't have to even enable anything. It will do it by itself, right? And then you connecting to each database instance on a monthly basis and then downloading and applying the necessary security patches is also not the most effective way, because it means that there would definitely be some downtimes that you wouldn't want to. Right, so it's not like if it's not. I mean, as far as performance efficiency is concerned, it is not the best practice. So systems manager stands out for me. And that is also the correct answer. So let me just read the explanations here. So patch manager, a capability of systems manager, automates the process of patching managed nodes with both security related and other types of updates. You can use the patch manager to apply patches for both operating systems and applications. On Windows Server, application support is limited to updates for applications released by Microsoft. You can use Patch Manager to install service packs on Windows nodes and perform minor version upgrades on Linux nodes. You can patch fleet of Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud instances, edge devices, or your on-premises servers and virtual machines by operating system type. Great. So I think the explanation is also clear for this. All right, so next question. A business is releasing a new application on AWS. The application will be hosted on an Elastic Compute Cloud instance. Additional EC2 instances will be required as the demand grows. Which AWS service or technology can the business use to deploy the required number of instances? So I see B. All right, another B. All right, so more B. So this is obvious, right? You use an auto scaling. You set up an auto scaling group for that purpose, right? For instances to be spin up anytime the demand grows. So what does it mean to provide AWS IAM users the fewest possible privileges? So granting permissions to a single user only, granting permissions using IAM policies only, granting administrator access policy permissions to trustworthy users, granting only the permissions required to perform a given task. Okay, so I see a lot of these, which I also agree. Right, so here we are talking about the principle of least privilege. When building an Amazon relational database service, when building an RDS instance in multiple availability zone mode, which architectural concept is followed? Implement loose coupling, design for failure, automate everything that can be automated, use services, not service. We looked at it. I think this is where we did something on this yesterday. So I see B, a lot of B's. It's just three B's anyway. More. I need two more, then we'll look at the answer. Master, Prince, you know be you are talk. Okay, so it's designed for failure, right? Please, anyone who doesn't understand. And I entwaso. What is a user's responsibility while using the AWS cloud to execute an application? Okay. Oh, let me try answers BB, but only for penaba. Anyway, so let's move on. The D is correct. Which before they are there now, bro. So which of the following statement concerning AWS worldwide infrastructure is true? And this one is obvious. C, yes, AWS regions consist of multiple availability zones. And Twaso. A business wishes to link AWS. Prince, today you chop some free money, Anna. Feel like today you make excited. Wow. A business wishes to link AWS to its corporate network through a private network connection. Which Amazon Web Services or functionality will satisfy this requirement? Question way. I needed one, a different option be to come. Now can you find way on. Anyway, so me try answers.
VPN.
Is there?
VPN.
Yes, I needed side to side
Got
VPN.
VPN for days. Yeah.
You found Queen who has. Anytime I see questions with identical answers, then the whole thing of scalability, the elasticity, they come to my head. Hey, really argue on this one. I sure say if we bring her back, if anybody raise them again, it will still be another argument.
We are not going to engage.
Hey, elasticity.
But if you be acquisitive than someone, they go engage.
That one I go do weddings. Engagement be small.
You Okay, you don't see how people can love the violence. You see the people where they make claim to the party, or you see the comments that they give. Violence there, you. Some people today say you bash up, say you miss up.
See,
Which of the following may be used to restrict certain users' access to Amazon Simple Storage Service? Restrict users from using Amazon S3 buckets. Okay, so see. So this is the obvious one. Right. So you use IAM policies. Which of the following is an AWS well-architected framework design? Excuse me. Which of the following is an AWS well-architected framework design principle? Do we have? Yes. So let me explain bucket policies. Bucket policies. Let me go back to the question. Can be used to restrict certain users. So you see here, you are looking at what users, certain users access to S3 buckets. So it is not the same, but they work the same way. With bucket policies, you can even grant access to the public, the general public, not specific user. But you say that, okay, either the bucket or a directory in the bucket, right? Or a directory in the bucket is made public or is granted access to the public. But when it has to do with specific users, you want just some particular users to get access to it, then you are talking of IAM policies. So in IAM policies, you're able to select S3 buckets. Even you can select read only, you can select write, or you can select like read or write. You get it. You're welcome, Jace. All right. The well-architected framework design. Reducing downtime, investing time to configure infrastructure manually, using monolithic application design for centralization, and then learn to improve from operational failures. I see only 2 C's. Okay, so yes, the answer is C. Learn to improve from operational failures, and that is operational excellence. Which AWS service enables a business to identify and reroute customers to other servers in the event of a website server outage? Okay. So anybody that is confused, hey, Prince, today your jargons that you gave me. But you chop free money, I tell you. We could send when I more than account numbers, make you make you send Aza. So yes, round 53. I swear you see money today, because Mentias here. Hey, Charlie. An organization with an AWS support plan for developers established an Amazon RDS database, but it's unable to connect to it. An organization with AWS support plan for developers established an Amazon RDS database, but is unable to connect to it. To get this degree of help, who should the developer contact? So support using support case, professional services, technical accounts manager, consulting partners. So I see A and D. Is that all? D. Yes, Nora said, nah, it's D. Nora said, Mobwa. I will explain that, man. So I'm also going towards technical accounts manager anyway. But for technical accounts manager, it is only available for the enterprise. And the way they are mentioning developer. No. Let me see the answer first.
The question is AWS support plan for developers. Could you see the answer?
Yeah. So okay, okay. So there is support plan for developers. Yes, and then for developers, you don't have access to technical accounts manager. That should be it. So the answer is A. I actually didn't pay attention to that. I didn't pay attention to the question. For a developer support plan, you don't have access to technical accounts manager. It's only enterprise that gives you access to technical accounts manager. There is supports professional services, consulting partners. Which AWS service enables you to monitor and debug distributed applications end to end? Monitor and debug distribute. Okay, man. Or see A. What is A? You are saying A. Ni, you are saying A. Papa. So Prince says B, Ni says D, Kofiochi says D.
Monitor. Oh, okay. About 90 user development environment is the thing. Integrated development environment.
Yeah, then code start be what?
Code type repository for code.
Then cloud map be what?
Cloud map, they will say that.
Yeah, so no, it's actually it's X-ray.
Yeah, be X-ray.
It's X-ray. So X-ray are monitoring and then Can you all hear me?
Yeah, now they hear you be like you go up small.
Yeah.
You can see the answer.
So it be X-ray. Immediately you see monitor, debug, distributed applications. So it's like applications need also. So you need a bit more shame bako. Just like how the X-ray works. So X-ray is a powerful tool offered by Amazon that enables developers to debug production and distributed applications, especially in the microservices architecture. So yes, in other use cases too, you will see microservices.
Yeah.
Which AWS shared responsibility model duties are the customer's responsibility? Select two. So I see C. Okay, plenty C's. Configuration management of user applications, security groups. So all we are seeing infrastructure, hardware, infrastructure facilities, network infrastructure in fire home, right? So C is correct. Which AWS cloud service gives tips on how to optimize an AWS account's performance? So B. All right. So BI to see trusted advisor. Okay. That's trusted advisor. Correct. Which variables impact AWS cloud costs? The number of unused Lambda functions, the number of configured Amazon, we are selecting two, configured Amazon S3 buckets, inbound data transfers without acceleration, outbound data transfers without acceleration, compute resources that are currently in use. I see D, C, D, C, E. Huh. So it's between C, D, and E. For me, I'll go for D and E. Right? D and E because for Lambda, you are not even charged for the functions. You are charged when your function or your code is running. Right. So for that period that it took to run. For the number of S3 buckets, you are not charged for the buckets that you have configured. You are rather charged for the storage space used. And inbound transfers are free, whether accelerated or not accelerated. I mean, with acceleration, yes, you pay for the acceleration. But inbound transfers are mostly free, right? Through the internet are free. But outbound data transfers, with or without acceleration, you pay for it. Yeah, so for inbound is data that is coming in. So if you are uploading a file, it's an inbound transfer, right? If you're uploading a file, it's an inbound transfer. And if you have configured some service in another region to send data to an S3 bucket, that is also an inbound transfer. The bucket that is receiving the data, let's say you have two buckets in two separate regions. The bucket that is receiving the data, you are not charged for that data. The reception of the data, but the other bucket in another region that is sending the data, you are charged for outbound transfers, and you are even charged for cross-region, right, transfers. But the receiving bucket doesn't incur any charges. But for outbound,
So, yeah. So I also was a bit confused in the beginning. So what I used to clear it for my head is that I use the Momo or any bank transfer or anything like that. So if you are putting money inside, you don't pay anything. So from the perspective of the account, it is an inbound transfer. So you don't pay anything. But when you are trying to like get money from the account, that is an outbound transfer. You get charged for it.
Yeah.
That is how I used to like clear the confusion from my head. So that is just use that. If you use that, you always get it. But always remember the perspective is from the bucket, not the person. Yeah, the perspective is from the bucket, not the person. So inbound is bringing into the bucket, and outbound is out from the bucket.
All right. So you're into us. The answer name by about. So don't forget. the Momo example is perfect. A corporation is required by law to track and assess configuration changes. Into us one. I think the first sentence we'll do for the answer, right? Configuration change.
Hey, I'm seeing CNA.
We do see ARCC.
No, this will stand by your answer. Oh, you want us to explain? Okay, so you just see, right, the cloud trail. The cloud trail is basically for monitoring API calls and then users activities. Okay, but then for config, it's basically for what the question is asking. To track and access, monitor configuration changes on the AWS resource. So that's basically what the AWS config does. The cloud trail is mainly for monitoring user activities and then API calls on the system.
All right. So that's the answer is config, and I explained that to access configuration or audit configuration changes, you use AWS config. Which AWS service should be utilized to store data backups for an extended period of time at a reasonable cost?
So then make them simple. So therefore add S3.
Is it?
Like therefore add S3.
S3, yeah.
Like which one, if like S3 they say like which one you go choose?
I go choose S3. About I will glass. Wait.
Glacier to be S3, alright, but then like
Uh,
if they put S3 for inside that, me say you go choose S3. But it's gonna be extended period of time.
extended period, so Glacier will still be there.
Mhm.
New studio. As I'm to say, trick say, say I can't die with that. Yeah, so that's Glacier. But the right thing should actually be S3 Glacier. All right. So Amazon Glacier is actually not correct. It should be S3 Glacier. And then since we are on S3, let me say this. Now, for usually when we are talking about the classes, the storage classes, we consider intelligent tiering, right? The understanding is that intelligent tiering is not a separate storage class on its own. It's kind of a feature, right? It's not a separate class, storage class. It's just a feature that a smart feature that uses access patterns or usage patterns to move your object or your storage through the different tiers. So this is actually a solutions architect level of understanding, but I just wanted to chip that in. What does the AWS cloud bring clients in terms of increased execution, speed, and agility? We are selecting two. So Vida says AB. C AB AB AE. And then AB. So lower resource provisioning costs, so increased execution speed and agility. So A is what? Readily available resources with low provisioning times. Scalable compute capacity. Access to AWS, no. So data centers is out. Free tier is out. Wow.
But the increased execution speed and agility, it commutes the E from it because the cost part make it the question inside. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So I think it's A.
All right. Let's see. Good. So in a cloud computing environment, new IT resources are only a click away, which means that you reduce the time to make those resources available to your developers from weeks to just minutes. This results in dramatic increase in agility for the organization. since the cost and time it takes to experiment and develop is significantly lower. A retailer wishes to supply just the resources required to meet current demand. Which cloud advantage is the organization attempting to accomplish with this objective? Okay, so more seats, that's scalability, and that's true. Oh, okay, let's just look at it. What storage capabilities does Amazon S3 Intelligent Tiering provide? So automatic cost savings. Automatic cost savings by moving objects between tiers based on access pattern changes. A business wishes to transfer 8 apps to an AWS VPC. The apps will need access to resources located on premises. Which combination of activities will allow the business to achieve this objective? Select 2. So please read them well and understand this one. I'll give everybody time to actually look at it well before. Use service catalog challenge for Vida, we are selecting 2. So I have AB, DB, NIM, BD, Vida also BD. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5. Okay. Yeah, so I'll agree with BD. I agree with BD. That's correct. So the AWS service catalog is just is to help you list the the service offerings by AWS, right? And which one? Okay, so that was the different, only the different answer. But C, using Athena. Athena is for data query. So more or less for data analysis. So it's not to connect on-prem to your cloud. And CloudFront is for content delivery. That's also not used to connect different, infrastructures. What is the most effective approach to link an on-premises network to numerous VPC located in separate AWS regions? This one too, I needed a different, but I needed another one, but I know so I'm back. So yeah, fine. Say the other one. I hope you know the other one I'm talking about.
Which one?
VPC peering.
Uh,
So if there was VPC peering, which one will you still choose?
it's the numerous did
Exactly. So because of the numerous, yes, even though you can still use VPC peering, but it is also not a good architecture, right? Because you have to do the peering between each of them when you can just use a transit gateway to have a central point of connection for all of them. Multiple regions of the AWS cloud are an example of this one is Coco. Okay, so yes, the global infrastructure. Which AWS service does Chef and Puppet utilize to automate configuration management? So this thing I read about it, but I always forget. But immediately I see Chef and Puppet, Namakai. So that is OpsWorks. So the Chef and Puppet thing, what can I even relate to it? So it's just the technical terms in Kwan. I wanted like a layman explanation. Anyway, but anytime there is you see Chef and Puppet, that is OpsWorks. And I think there is another case that will be like you copy what is here and then or implement the same thing uh, in another application. So it's just like you are copying from Peter and then using the same thing to apply to Paul, right? Oh, my forwarding will be so okay. So let's look at it. A corporation want to remove the necessity for pre-deployment estimation. All right. Of infrastructure capacity. Additionally, the corporation wants to spend its money on cloud resources only when the resources are used. Yeah, so that's pay as you go price in Queen.
hey,
SQL.
my question is,
You get this question there.
yeah,
SQL injection attacks are being launched against an application from a variety of external locations, which AWS service or functionality can assist in automating response to these attacks. Oh, but this one, the options have make them easy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just move on. So that's WAF. That's the web application firewall. Which feature enables Amazon EC2 instance to be more elastic in response to changing workload demand? So that's auto scaling. What time saving benefits can Amazon recognition provide? Recognition.
Be mechanical tech.
Hmm.
Charlie. Yeah, so check them.
Yes, you can check it.
Hey, nowadays, okay. Amazon Mechanical Tech, MTech, is an online platform developed by Amazon that enables individuals and businesses to access a scalable workforce to perform various tasks or human intelligence tasks. MTech provides a marketplace where requesters, those who need tasks to be completed, can post tasks, and workers, known as techers, can accept and complete those tasks in exchange for payments.
I
Key
see.
features of Amazon tax variety, scalability, pay structure, quality control, speed and efficiency, API integration. It's important to know that while the MTech offers a convenient way to access a global workforce for various tasks, there may be concerns regarding the quality of work, data privacy, and fair compensation for workers. Requesters are responsible for setting clear instructions, offering fair pay, and maintaining ethical standards when using the platform.
Hmm. See.
I use some site be Appen. I don't know if you hear of Appen.
Yeah, Appin, yeah.
Yeah.
I do some tasks before there before safe.
I still they do some tasks for themselves. But who they name these services? They can't say excessive.
So yes, so for recognition is for detection of objects appearing in pictures. Me sure say here I try. That's B. A corporation wants to migrate petabytes of data from on-premises sites to the AWS cloud as rapidly as feasible. Which AWS service could the business use? Nora says A. Ni says A. Yes, petabyte of data. So we are looking at Snowball. Snowball. Where should a business go to locate, test, purchase, and deploy software that works on AWS? Yeah, so that is the marketplace. Lumberyard. Lumberyard, then they sell wood for their hours. These exam dams you do Lumberyard. I mean, you just look it up and let's see if there's truly AWS Lumberyard.
Yeah, so
Hey, these people they can do anything.
Indeed,
Amazon
Papa.
Cloud Search.
They can make a copy the answer again.
The cloud map, you know.
Prince, you say what? Cloud what map?
Yeah.
Huh? There's cloud map. I thought that I know of map reduce.
The previous version, you see cloud map. But I say, no.
Uh, was it a question with the code star and those ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was cloud map. Yeah. Okay, so the Lumberyard is a free. Oh Jesus. Free open source cross-platform 3D game engine developed and offered by a design for building high quality, visually impressive, and immersive games for various platforms, including PC, console, mobile, and virtual reality environments. Lumberyard. So it was for hey, Lumberyard is not for wood, why? it's actually a service that is existent. So hey,
The cloud search now.
aha, then see the cloud search we could see.
AWS Cloud.
Yeah.
Cloud search, cloud search. So cloud search is a fully managed service provided by AWS that enables you to set up, manage, and scale a search solution for your data within your applications. It's designed to make it easier for developers to implement robust search functionality without the need to manage the underlying infrastructure. Okay, so it's more or less like it enables you to implement search engine feature into your applications. Cloud search is what is it? Cloud search is commonly used to add search capabilities to websites, mobile applications, and other software where searching, sorting, and ranking of large data sets is required. So if you open a website, if you open something like Jumia, and then you are able to do search and then filter them or sort the things according to your preference. There is, I mean, it's identical to what cloud search does.
I beg add the cloud mapping. Super cool.
Yeah, so nearby add the cloud map.
Why Nora the laugh?
I don't know. Maybe it was for if you already she poster. I'm sure it was on the Lamba thing. The Lamba the Lamba
Lambaya. Okay.
the Lamba joke that I
No. Nora, we hear your voice before.
no. Nora no talk before. Today she go talk. AWS Cloud Map is a service provided by AWS that allows you to create and maintain a map of the resources. A map of the resources.
Gee.
Yeah, do. A map of your resources in your cloud environment, making it easier for your applications to discover and connect to those resources. It's particularly useful in dynamic microservices-based architectures where services can come and go and their locations change over time. Oh, okay.
Incredible.
So this one is marketplace. A business user base is worldwide in scope. The organization need a highly available application with reduced latency for end users. Which AWS architecture approach will meet these criteria the most effectively? A single region multi-AZ, multi-region active-active architecture, multi-region active-passive architecture, single region, single AZ. So this thing, this
This
active-active and
question.
then active-passive thing, we need to probably like look at it in detail. I think we've just come across it once, and it was even
Oh,
yes, and it was even a question, exam question. We answered it and we moved on, but we need to have time and then. But the basic understanding is that if you have a multi-region and then you have an active architecture, it's like both regions are working at the same time, right? And then for multi-region active passive, it's like you have one region very active working, and then the passive one is more or less like a standby kind of thing. It only start working
Yeah.
when there is a failover, like when it has to switch, and then it will just come up and then start working. So what's our answers? What's our options?
I think it's
AK, welcome.
big is on stress.
So based on my explanation, okay, so B. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Zena's okay. You and somebody like this. You come in late and then you leave late. If I should if they say I should invite somebody to a party, and if the person comes late, I will win something. I will invite you. Anyway, that was just by the way. Yeah, so okay, so for higher availability, if the answer is B, before we even go into the correct answer, if the answer is B, so in the case of fault tolerance, which of the options will we relate it to?
For tolerance, I'll go for C.
Agree? Me, I agree. So in the case of fault tolerance, we'll go for C, right? Because in case the A fails, then we'll move it. Oh, you squad, mobbing. Yeah, so this one, the correct answer is B. Which duty is the customer's responsibility under the AWS shared responsibility model?
These questions, they will come to the into.
Mhm. Yeah, the shared responsibility, like you plenty too much. I remember my exams, I had a lot of it.
Oh,
Okay, so that's the guest operating system. How can a user safeguard against AWS service outages in the event of a widespread of a natural disaster?
I'll see explain. Yeah.
So there is in the event of a widespread natural disaster, and then I saw some people choosing okay, so C and then A. I deploy applications across multiple regions. Well, I mean, somebody might be tempted to actually like choose multiple AZs, right? but then there is widespread. So the region itself might even be affected. So let's also take note of that. Right? Or if people say a disaster in California doesn't mean there's a disaster in America.
Hmm.
But I mean, in AWS, California should be okay. It should be an availability zone. What is an example of cloud-based application that is decoupled and scalable? A mail and log application that runs on a single EC2 instance. A web page that is hosted on Amazon S3 and uses Lambda to update an Amazon DynamoDB database. An application load balancer, web server, and database server that support a monolithic application. A legacy database server that is running on a maximum instance size supported by 8 licenses. This thing is very technical. Okay, so let me explain. Now you have a mail and then a log application that runs on a single EC2 instance. Now, what means is that if the EC2 instance fails, right, everything is gone. Right, immediately the EC2 instance fails, everything is gone. So that is not a good thing. Now you have a web page that is hosted on Amazon S3 and then uses Lambda to update an Amazon Dynamo DB database, right? So what this means is that the web page is hosted in S3. Now the S3 is on its own. It's a service on its own, right? And then Lambda is also on its own. And based on some events, now the Lambda functions is able to update the DynamoDB database. So you can see that I had this thing, design services, not servers, right? So this is basically a typical situation. Now, the case of using a load balancer, web server, database server to support a monolithic, the fact that it's a monolithic application doesn't make the cut for me, right? Because you're looking at a decoupled application that is also scalable, right? And then a legacy database server that is running on the maximum instance size, supported by 8 licenses. That is also not it. So it's like you are just using the biggest size available, right? And you might not even use all the capacity. So yes, I also agree with B. Okay, Prince, you chose C, eh?
I see the load balance and all that. So
Oh, okay. Yes, but yes, I think it's C. It's just the monolithic thing that doesn't.
yeah, I
Mm,
see them later, but maybe see the answer.
yeah, let's see the answer and see, and then let's see the explanation that comes with it. Yeah, so it's B. So many applications start to grow in complexity as they mature, making it harder for developers to maintain code and add new features. This can lead to monolithic, where must know about monolithic application, where developers must know more about the entire architecture to make changes. Typically, this causes code to become more fragile and the rate of development slows down. This was not the explanation I need. A client has many AWS accounts, each with its own billing. How can the client benefit from bulk savings while minimizing the effect on AWS services?
Me answer.
See? Okay. Is Prince, you say you don't get answer?
They make me answer.
All right, so yes, that's C. You use the consolidated billing feature. A
Study
business
do
must,
all.
is there?
Me see study do.
Yeah, I beg go drink water. Kondoms you be kwabi won't you see me. Be kwa make kind of yana me person me in way. So you do it and you drink water small. It will keep you awake for some time. Then what's a piece see I go wash my face. Oh, okay. A business must keep its data near to its core consumers, which AWS advantage satisfies this requirement. Well, obvious. Yes, that's global footprint. If you keep away answer. Global footprint. Who is responsible for the virtualization layer down to the physical security of the facilities in which AWS services operate under the AWS shared responsibility model? Sole responsibility of AWS. Correct. A company, yes, correct. A company's managed IAM policy does not allow users the right essential to do needed activities. A company's managed IAM policy does not allow users the rights essential to do needed activities. How is this situation to be solved? Enable Shield Advanced, use custom IAM policy, use a third-party web application firewall manage rule from the marketplace, use KMS to create customer managed key. So enable custom IAM. A business wishes to strengthen its security and audit posture by restricting incoming access to Amazon EC2. What should the organization use instead of opening incoming SSH ports and handling SSH keys to remotely access instances? This one, we've seen it before. We've seen a question like this before. Yeah, so you use the sessions manager, session manager, right? That is what you use. It looks like this one, I'm for a car. So you use a session. So, we do SSH. Now, when you are doing SSH, you have to open a port. A port will be open. You don't actually do that. A port will be opened, right? That is where you enter your URL, all those things that you use to access your resource via the CLI or via SSH, right? So there is a port that's open. But if you don't want to do that, you can use the sessions manager, right? The sessions manager option in the systems manager. Which scenarios warrants the utilization of Amazon EC2 spot instances? So I see D, 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 and I see C. Okay. Maybe So that is the company has a number of infrequent interruptible jobs that are currently using on-demand instances. So the number is infrequent. It can be interrupted, that is interruptible, and they are currently using on-demand instances. So that is for sports instance. A business must transmit time-sensitive communications to a large number of subscribers using a push technique, which AWS service should the business use? So we are looking at time-sensitive techniques, and we are looking at push notifications, right? You are doing push notifications to subscribers. I've given a clue. Until we say answers in brasa. Yeah, so that is SNS. Good, that's correct. Oh, a question so right. Which tasks? Let me minimize it this way. Oh, still okay. Let me play it. Hey, we have passed here. So yeah, we did 2 forces. Okay. Is this one? Oh, the answer has come. Which tasks need access? Need access to the root user of the AWS account? Select 2. Yes, so A. So you change the support plan or closing the account. Which AWS cloud best practice makes advantage of cloud computing's flexibility and agility? It takes advantage, right? It takes advantage of cloud computing's flexibility and agility. So be dynamically and predictively scaled to meet demands. Physical access, no, break apart into loosely coupled components. How? Wow. Predictively, dynamically and predictively scale to meet usage demands. Break apart the application into loosely coupled components. It's interesting. Let's see the answer. Okay, so in traditional computing environment, you provision capacity based on an estimate of theoretical maximum peak. Let's see. users of Amazon Route 53 are able to. This one I use English. That's all. Users of Amazon Route 53 are able to encrypt data in transit. So this one is straightforward, right? You are able to register DNS domain names. Okay, the Route 53 is a DNS service, even though yes, it has some encryption features, but basically the main thing is to register DNS names. Which characteristic of the Amazon Virtual Private Cloud allows customers to link two VPCs? Okay, so CCC VPC peering. So yeah, correct. Multiple Amazon EC2 instances are used to host an application. The program sends messages using SNS, which AWS service or feature grant authorization for the application to access needed AWS services. This one too is Fala. So yes, that's IAM rules. A business is contemplating migrating to the AWS cloud. The firm wishes to be able to scale its computing capacity in response to changing demand conditions. Which AWS cloud advantage does this illustrate? Does this case illustrate? Right. So that's in fast elasticity. Which of the following is a NoSQL database service that is both quick and dependable? So this one is no-brainer, right? Immediately you see NoSQL, then we are looking at DynamoDB. A client wants to develop and construct a new workload on AWS cloud, but lacks the necessary technical skills in AWS related technologies. Which of the following AWS programs make a client use to accomplish that goal? Okay, so partner network consulting partners. Great. Which AWS solution enables rapid setup and management of a new multi-account AWS environment? Trusted Advisor, Security Hub, Control Tower, Resource Access Manager. Okay, so I'm seeing C. All right, so that's Control Tower. Oh, if people don't forget. Which operation needs the usage of the root account user credentials for the AWS account? Okay, so I'm seeing A. So that's correct, closing an AWS account. On Amazon EC2 instances, a business is operating and controlling its own Docker environment. Alternate is desired to assist in managing cluster size, scheduling, and environment management. Which AWS service satisfies this criteria? This one you need to know about the container services to be able to answer this. Yeah, so that's Fargate, right? Fargate is a container service, so you don't have to handle all these managing the cluster size, scheduling, environment management, and on all those things. So that is it. Hey, this one, let me play it so that we'll see what is there. Which AWS situations exemplify the idea of elasticity? Please, we are selecting two. Sorry. So A, B, scaling the number of EC2 instances based on traffic, resizing Amazon RDS instances as business needs change, automatically directing traffic, compliance, ability to create. Okay, so more of ABs. So yeah, scaling and then which of the following are advantages of using the AWS cloud to host infrastructure? Select two. So AC, Okay. CA. All right, so that's correct. Which of the following are benefit of Amazon Web Services cloud computing platform? This is like identical questions. I mean, looking at the previous one. Ni better now. The answers no come again. It looks like it's asleep.
Wada. Yeah, your name no, you wake up.
I read the bed, so we will call you. So we are selecting 2 for this one too. We are left with barely. We are going to 6. Okay. Oh, so this is the last question actually. No, this is the last batch one. We are doing 65, so we should end at 260. The benefit of AWS services. So manages maintenance of the cloud infrastructure. Hey, I need to do one this. So you more the thing, so you better wake up self, say go do the
I
exercise.
swear.
Charlie.
You go get like 64 or 65.
Capacity planning. Charlie, through capacity planning for physical servers. Okay, so that's A and C. Yes, and last question. Which AWS service enables infrastructure as code management? Last one. This one is last one. Everybody bring answer. Everybody. Hey, Yaka 9. You see, oh,
Hey,
definitely.
Sita join. I think I said she no join.
Yeah, she joined. We did here. Moro, somebody go bring him body. We go move to him. Make somebody come then can defend them. Into we go face him.
We are here for the violence.
Oh yeah. Okay, so the answer is cloud formation. All right. Okay, so Nora, let me explain this. Cloud formation, normally when you are provisioning your infrastructure, right? Let's say you are provisioning or you are setting up a web server or an application web server, you have to spin up your EC2 instance, you do all your configurations that you will have to do. Please, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. You have to so you have to provide all those things that are needed. But you realize that you will have to also do it maybe for multiple times, right? Maybe you do one, you have to do the same replication, or you have to do the same setup in another region, right? Or for a different resource altogether. But you want to use the same format, maybe CPU size, memory size, the instance type, and then all those things. So what you do is that you will configure it in CloudFormation, and then now you just do the replication right through the template. So the CloudFormation allows you to use code to design the template, your infrastructure template, and then when you are deploying, you just use it, like you just multiply the whole thing. I say replicate it in different environment or different or multiple times, right? So that is what we say you are handling infrastructure as code. So instead of doing the whole thing manually or physically by yourself one by one, by the use of codes to design the template, you are able to do it, I mean, a couple of times. Yeah, man. So that is basically it. Okay. So thank you all for joining. We enjoy your company a lot. You know, we are actually basically able to do this because we are always having you on board.